Welcome to the Lone Jack Totally Off Track podcast, a family-ran show with myself, Amanda, and my husband, Nolan, and my brother, Matthew, that is, well, a little bit off track. We will cover a wide range of topics. We don't take ourselves too seriously, and you shouldn't either. Thank you for being here, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome, everyone. How was that?
That was
classy.
Excellent.
Did you watch the Kentucky Derby yesterday?
No. Should I have?
We watched it for about 4 or 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got in just before it started, and then we watched.
We were just sitting there on the couch, and I was all of a sudden switched over to it, and they were loading all the horses into the thing, and then the horse that won, Amanda apparently picked to win, but she didn't bet any money on it.
That's the whole point of the Kentucky Derby.
We didn't get any.
I would have chosen
After he won, she's like, "That's the one I would have picked to win."
I liked his name. It was Sovereignty, and I liked his name because I like the idea of sovereignty. And so I liked his name, and I was like, "Aw." But then did you see that, did you know that there was a horse there named Sandman for Metallica?
I didn't know that.
And so I was like, well, it'd be cool if he won too. He was a favorite, but I think he was
like the second or third favorite.
But I think he was probably just the favorite for a lot of people because of him.
Yeah,
I don't know. But then Sovereignty, he was what, 18-1 odds, so he wasn't bad odds.
I can't remember that.
Anyway, I liked his name, so I should have told Nolan before, but I don't think you believe me that's the one I wanted to.
I believe you everything you say.
You don't believe everything they say. You're such a liar.
Good, because I don't believe a word you say.
It was a mud fest, so that was fun. They were running in pretty deep mud.
And then Nolan this morning, because he gets on a kick with all this stuff, he's like, "Oh, that's not the fastest Kentucky Derby ran is still Secretariat from 1973." And so we watched that one, and then he's like, "That wasn't the impressive one." So then he pulls up Belmont Stakes, and then of course I was crying because I'm an emotional mess, and that horse running that just really does me in. Anyway, I might cry now. I don't know. It's been an emotional day. Nolan has me on a diet.
every horse in the Kentucky Derby this year had bloodlines to Secretariat.
That's pretty impressive.
You know about Secretariat.
Yeah, there's the movie about him.
Did you watch the movie?
There's no movie about Secretariat?
Dude, yeah. There's a movie.
There's a Hollywood movie called Secretariat, I think.
The little baby, and he stood up way faster than any other baby stood up. He was just like shot out and stood up.
I guess I'll have to watch this if I haven't.
Well, I would say I'd watch it with you, but I cry most of it, so I guess...
we'll get the tears out of you. Maybe I've watched it before.
Well, I'm guessing you have.
But I'm aware that horse did the Triple Crown and all that stuff. The only one in history to do that.
What was his heart? It was like...
His heart was like several pounds bigger than any other horse heart that's ever been recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was huge, like 20-some pounds or something.
So cool. Horses are so cool.
There's an audiobook that you recommended to me. It was called American Pharaoh. It was free on Audible for a while. And I remember I just met you, and I couldn't finish the book because the first hour was about horse breeding, and I gave up on the part where they were talking about how there's one man's job is to guide the member in to collect the sample during the artificial insemination of horses. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I don't think it was like an 8-hour audiobook, and at hour 1, I was like, I don't need to hear this anymore. I think I'm going to go back to my fantasy series.
I don't remember.
It probably was 5 minutes in. He's talking about, there's one guy with a stick that makes sure it goes in the right spot when the horse is amped up. And I was like, I don't need this.
No kidding. Who does?
He said, did you listen to it? And I go, yeah, I'm working my way through it. And I was done at that
5 minutes in, but I'm not picking it back up.
Funny.
That's
I remember
terrible.
it was a while. It was interesting though because it started with the bloodlines of the horse. But that was American Pharaoh, right? That was
Pharaoh came from because he was the first Triple Crown winner in a long time, but he has
okay.
a Secretariat bloodlines too.
Uh-huh.
What were you just looking up?
That his heart, that Secretariat's heart was 22 pounds.
Oh yeah, and they're usually what, 17?
I'm not sure. I didn't look at that. It just
Well, then how is giving us a random weight proving anything?
um
Is that something here or is that you?
It's me.
Oh, okay. I was like, is something on fire? We moved our horses out to Grandma and Grandpa's yesterday, and they were very excited because they were eating green grass.
the average thoroughbred heart is 8.5 pounds.
Oh, 8.5.
So a normal horse that runs in that is 8.5, and he was 22 pounds.
That's more than, that's gigantic.
That's almost 3 times the size. That's pretty close.
That's why he didn't get tired on the Belmont Stakes when he won by...
Well, they didn't know that. Obviously,
No.
They didn't know the size of his heart, but he always started in the back. So when he started up front, everybody thought he was going to poop out, and he just kept extending the lead. 28.
28. I don't know how the little announcer, how he was coming up with the lengths that
The
he was.
lengths.
Was he counting all that?
No. The ring has...
I know.
And you can see he's by this one, they're by this one.
Did he quickly count that? I figured that's what it was when I watched it. And I was trying to look, and this guy's like
knows.
18 lengths, 22 lengths,
Well,
25 lengths.
It's just like you say hockey players or hockey announcers, they always know who has the puck. They're never wrong. I mean, rarely wrong.
If they were, I wouldn't know.
Well, but they just say because they just are. That's just their job.
I have no idea who has the puck when I watch hockey because it.
Yeah. I've gotten better since we've been watching.
She's even gotten better on TV.
Yeah. Anyway, the other day, I was coming home. It was at night. I can't remember what I was doing. I must have been cleaning late at night. Anyway, I was coming home. And someone pulled out in front of me at Junction.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing here?
I'm getting on to what our topics are.
Oh, you got to bring us into this.
I'm saying this is going to bring us in. If you wouldn't interrupt me.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
this was a smooth transition.
Someone pulled out in front of me. It was until Nolan.
What?
It wasn't.
What are you saying?
It was going from watching a puck in hockey to I was followed someone out of the intersection.
Don't worry, we're going to start talking about more frozen rubber here pretty quick.
Okay, I'm sorry I interrupt your amazing transition.
I totally lost it all.
Okay,
so this pickup pulls out in front of me, and from Junction to where I turn off to come to the mountains is not really that far, okay? So if someone's going decently the speed, it's silly to pass them because I'm like, I'm going to turn off. So I try to, I try to gauge that because I don't, it's always weird when someone passes you and then they turn in front of you a mile
turn
later.
right away.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm following this pickup. And since it's dark, I couldn't really see it. Otherwise, I would have known who it was. But anyway, so then they turn where I'm turning. But then they were going like... The speed limit's 35. I don't really drive that because that's stupid. But they were going like 35 and they were going like 15. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to pass them now. So I passed them and I am hauling booty. Okay. Like it's a straight stretch before like a 90-degree curve. And I think I was going 55 along that and then took the curve and then just gunned it. And then there's another 90. And so, whatever. I'm going pretty quick. Okay. And I look in my rear view mirror and this pickup is following me. Okay. And I started having flashbacks to the time Nolan and I got followed home. Anyway, it turned out that it was our neighbor, but our neighbors are old folks. Okay. And I didn't realize she has a daughter who lives in Italy and the daughter comes here during the summer. And I didn't realize it was the daughter. I was thinking that the neighbor was plastered and apparently hauling butt on a gravel road.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Didn't realize they turned off the highway. Like, oh, we're still supposed to be going 50 out here, huh?
But they had been back and forth. And
yeah, because I was going to follow them all the way home. Because again, like, once we turn on our couple roads, like, why pass someone? I mean,
it's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and so I really wasn't going to, but I must have been cleaning it. It was a long day, and if it was dark, it was obviously after 9. So I just wanted to get home. Okay, I was tired.
You probably had to pee. You wanted to get home.
Exactly. Anyway, so it reminded me of the time Nolan and I were followed home. And coming home from Moscow, Nolan passed this guy on the pass lane, which I don't know if this is just around here because people are idiots, or if this is anywhere, but when it's 2-lane, whatever, you go 10 to 15 miles under the speed limit. You hit that passing lane uphill, and shockingly, your car can actually go the speed limit, but 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. So to pass people, you've got to go at least 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, because at the top, you just know they're going to slam on their brakes, whoop, bring it back down to 50 miles an hour in a 60. So this car we were following had been doing that. Like, we followed them from Moscow, and at Steakhouse, they gunned it up the hill, and Nolan, he's not an aggressive driver. He's a good driver. Unlike his wife, who's an aggressive driver. But then we got down on the other side, and they're going like 45 to 50 miles an hour again. So we get to the next hill, and I was like, can you please just pass this person? So Nolan, he guns it. I don't remember exactly how fast he was going to gun it.
Well, only 70 something.
Anyway, but it's in a 60. And so he gets around him, and we don't see him for a long time. And then, like, I don't know how far it is from Crooks to Junction. What, 4 miles?
Yeah.
4 miles. We're coming up to Junction where we need to go into Potlatch. And this car is back on his bumper, on our bumper. And,
we caught up to slow traffic, too.
Well, right, yeah, but that car was so far behind us that the slow traffic was... Anyway, and so we're going into town, and he's, like, right on us. And then we turn up our street, which it was really not a turn a lot of people took, Mm-hmm. And they follow us on that turn, and we turn up our next street, which is for sure, like, we had the only driveway on this block. So, like, for him to follow us up that street was weird. And so Nolan's like, I think this guy's following us. And so he zooms around Potlatch, and we finally kind of lost him. And then we get back to the house, and Nolan, like, backs in so that, like, because we were in my car, so he didn't want, like, the spoiler sticking out, so he backed in so it looked more incognito. And then as we were getting out of the car, this guy goes by again and kind of sees us. And so I don't know what Nolan was doing, dinking around probably, but I went up our back stairs, through our house, out the front door, up the front steps, and out onto the street, because I didn't know. It looked like this guy had just parked up there. And I guess I was feeling a little feisty, like usual.
Tell us more.
And so I was like, I just didn't want him sitting there, because I was going to call the cops, because I'm like, I'm not going to be followed home and then like monitored by some punk. Okay. Not about that life. So I'm up on the street, and he had, I guess, gone around the block again, because I was out on the street, and he drives by again, and he rolls his window down, and I'm like, do you have a problem? And he was like, yeah, your boyfriend cut me off. And I was like, he's not my boyfriend. He's my husband. And
you're
he
fighting
didn't
about
cut
the
you
important
off.
parts here. You're like, wait, first of all,
get your facts straight, punk.
My husband cut your ass off. Get that right.
And I was like, and he didn't even cut you off. And why are you following us home? And I don't exactly remember now what all was said.
I got
But at some point, he said he was going to go home, get his gun, and come back and kill Nolan. And I lost
You're like,
it.
I got mine right now.
Okay?
I got mine right now. Come on.
What is that thing? There's this like new trend on the social medias where it's like the music that starts playing in my head when my maiden name is about to show. And I can't remember the song that they play, but it's like, I don't know if it's AC/DC or it's It's probably not AC/DC.
It's probably FFWAS by Peeling Flesh. So
there you go. I never even heard of that song. It's a song I know.
Thunderstruck. I figured that would happen.
What the heck is going on?
Our light is like timber.
What the heck just happened? You said Thunderstruck, and it was like it summoned a
That
entity.
was perfect timing. That was perfect.
Anyway, it doesn't matter what song it is, but then it's like that's what was like. That would have been the perfect instance of that, because when he said he was going to come back and kill Nolan,
He's going to come
it
back
was
with
just
his...
like it's about to be real unchristian like out here. Anyway, so what were you doing? Well, I'm out on the street yelling at this man.
I came into the house.
I don't know why you have it sitting in a laundry basket.
Well,
I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Just hold it in your lap like a dinner plate.
There. It was giving us weird face shadows before, so I put it up there, and I figured it would come down on us, and sure enough,
what's it look like?
Right at the right time.
You two are beautiful.
Right at the right time, it came down.
So there's no shadows,
anyway,
really? Yeah.
I came into the house, not knowing that she had went through the house. And I'm walking around the house, and she's nowhere around. All of a sudden, I hear yelling, and I look outside, and the car is up there, and she's up there beside the car, and they're just yelling at each other. And I'm at the door, like, trying to get her to come back in.
He's yelling at me, and he said I was listening about as well as his dog that we had at the time. He's down there yelling Amanda, and I wasn't even still listening. I wasn't
good,
turning
since
my head.
we have shark's eyes when we go too far. We got our eyes turn all black. There's no pupil. The eye is just completely black. We have that little monster inside of us that we love, violence.
Yeah.
And confrontation.
So we called the cops, and apparently that guy called the cops.
Well, because our conversation ended, he said something, and now I can't remember what it was, because that was like a couple years ago. He said something, and he messed up his words, and I was like, it sounds like you're intoxicated. You shouldn't even be driving. And then he got all flustered, and he drove off, and he's like, I'm calling the cops, and I'm like, so am I!
Good, hang out. We'll talk to him.
And so
when
it took 45 minutes for the sheriff to get there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is so
What?
I was like, yeah, 45 minutes. If this would have been an actual, like emergency, all of us could have already been dead, because this guy was obviously off his rocker.
The bodies would have been cold by the time they got there.
I don't know who he was or where he lived, but somewhere in town. But the deputy said he
kind of thought he knew who it was, and that they've had problems with him before. And I was thinking,
he's kind of sounds like he might be a little like crazy. And
then, so this is not on topic of road rage. Not that I had road rage. I had more of like just rage.
You just had house rage. It wasn't
house rage. Anyway, I don't appreciate being followed home to my safe zone by some.
That's a little creepy.
And anyway, on Facebook, like on our community Facebook, Nolan shows me some stuff. There's some people that live kind of up where I assume this guy lives, which I don't know if it's this guy or not. But apparently the people have to move, because there's a guy up there that has made their kids so scared from what he's done that they have to, they're moving, they're leaving. And I'm thinking, really, no one can handle it? And I'm pretty sure it's probably the same guy. And it's years later, but I'm guessing it's the same fella.
Well,
if I had to lay money down, I would.
I don't know if it was the same guy or not, but my brother, they had someone follow them one time.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of just ripping around town, they just headed out of town and headed up Gold Hill,
and
just headed up in the mountain,
up into the woods.
And the guy turned around and stopped following them.
I would too if someone was taking me out of town, which is what I was gonna do. Like if that person
drive them up where there's no cell service, we'll see how tough you are now.
Yeah, right. Like that's what I would have done if the people wouldn't have been our neighbors just last week or the other week. I was just gonna drive right by our house up the road, because I know where I could have turned around without, stopping or anything, and
gunned it, taking a turn, turned the car off, wait till they went by, and flip around real quick.
Yeah.
You watch too much Dukes of Hazzard now.
Right?
That was before Nolan had showed you that show. To go down in a holler, shut her off real quick, make sure the dome light doesn't turn on.
Yep.
Go
as soon
by.
as they drive by, you fire it up and rip off the other way.
But yeah, so Nolan said that.
And there's always a shortcut.
Back. When that all happened, Nolan was like, I hope you've learned your lesson. And I was like, I honestly haven't learned anything. I would do that again. I mean, He's like,
I've learned it was good to confront them in the street.
Nolan's like, that was so dangerous. You could have been hurt. And I'm like, I'm not going to stand up for that. I don't like that.
Well,
just like the
you
other.
should be more prepared if you're going out there, but also be smart.
But if I would have had any weapons of my own and he would have seen them, I would have been in a lot more trouble with brandishing a firearm than just screaming at some guy in the street.
You should whip your phone out next time. That's the biggest. Yeah, the biggest weapon we have nowadays is this right here.
Speaking of that, though,
I got you slurring your words.
I went and grabbed my pistol and stood at the door with it, and then when it all said and ended, then I went to put my pistol away and realized it had been unloaded the whole time.
Yeah, so my
that's good. Nobody was going to get hurt that way.
No one was.
Everybody was totally safe, even with the gun.
I want to hear some of you, if you've had any road rage incidents, but speaking of the phone, in February, I guess over on the WSU campus, there was a guy wearing a red MAGA hat, and a professor at WSU and another like cohort of sorts attacked this guy wearing this red hat, like threw him down, took his hat and curb stomped him. Okay. And apparently there were lots of witnesses, but not one person stepped up. And I'm thinking, okay, they were all like recording, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm not a little lady, but I am little enough that people don't think I'm quite as tough as I am. But like, I don't care. Like, obviously I would have stood up for a MAGA because that would be more, what we are, sort of. I mean, conservative. But I don't care if they were dressed up thinking they were a dog. I don't care what they were. I would not stand for that. I would not be a person recording, okay? If they're getting their butt kicked, I guess I'm going to get mine kicked too, because I'm stepping in. I don't care how many people there are. Like, I just don't know why we don't stand up for this kind of stuff. Everyone's just like, let me record. And I'm like, why don't you help the poor guy that's getting his butt kicked and he's getting curb stomped? I
hear you. Yeah, if there was a dude in a blue hat getting his ass beat, I'd be like, yo, stop kicking that guy's ass,
Yeah. I'd be like, that's not how we're going to behave, especially as a 90-year-old professor. Grow up.
I don't believe that a professor in a tweed jacket. Have you ever seen American History X? Doesn't matter. But there's
and they got the little.
Yeah, the patches on the bottom. He drops his book bag and curb stomps the dude. Is so funny. He's like, I got tenure. They can't get rid of me.
I don't think it was that old of a professor.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, are you kidding me? You're a professor and you literally are enraged by a hat? That's how childish you are? Your parents definitely should have given you more ass whippings as a child. I'm just saying. I mean, grow up. Grow up, people. Anyway.
Grow up.
I'm not.
That's, I heard that, oh my gosh, who's that guy with
Charlie
the really with the pinched face that always yells at college students? I'd heard he was there, that there was a bunch of, I don't know.
He rarely yells at them.
I guess he doesn't yell at it, but there was a bunch of discourse where, was it around that time that the guy got beat up? Because I heard
that was in February, and Charlie was just here a couple weeks ago.
In March or April, right? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. April.
All right.
No, but like the news article came out at the same time, so it almost seemed like it was the same time, but then it was in February. Okay. Yeah. But he was here, and apparently that was a pretty good turnout, but.
Yeah, there was like 900 or 1,000 people in the area where he was.
It'd been interesting.
And then 2 people got arrested for graffitiing, anti stuff.
I don't know. Anyway,
it's always been a dream of mine to be either hit by the RTD bus or assaulted by some kind of professor, or even been the victim of police brutality, because that'd never work again. I'm a lovely actor. I would. Man.
November, when you come back, get your red hat, go walk around WSU. I'm sure someone will beat you up.
No, I'm a little guy. I'll be curb stomped. I'll be living a paraplegic with a bunch of money. That's no fun. I'm a coward.
I'll follow behind you, okay? And if anyone starts roughing you up, I'll come step in.
This is funny. Okay, this ties in. So I was when I first moved here. I was doing a job and my boss was like, the door's open, so you can just go in. Nobody's home, but they left the door open for you. And I showed up at this job. It was maybe 10:30. I had 1 in the morning that I had done. And I get there and the front door is locked. So I just hopped over the fence. I went around back and the back door was unlocked. And I pushed it open. I went inside. I unlocked the front door and I opened it. And the home security system started going off. I was like, intruder, intruder. And then they had like a panel on the wall. And I clicked the button to disarm it. Because I was like, I think my boss had texted me a code. So I put the 4-digit PIN in, but that wasn't it. Because that PIN, I guess that PIN worked for the back door. It didn't work for the front door.
Oh.
And then next thing you know, it started calling somebody at like Simply Safe or whatever company it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hello, I'm so-and-so with the home security company. Identify yourself. And I was like, hey, I'm Matthew. I'm with the plumbing company. I'm supposed to be here. And she goes, that's all well and good. What's the security phrase? And I was like, I don't know what the security phrase is. I
have not been given this information.
They didn't tell me that. And it just shut off. And I was like, oh, I guess Simply Safe isn't that thorough. Like, they just believe this story. I could be anybody. And so I just went downstairs. I started doing the work. And then after like an hour through my earbuds, I heard, I was like, dude, that's a cop knock. Cops have a certain way of knocking.
Yeah.
And so then I got my phone out because like, these guys smoke me. I want my wife to come away with some money. So I like video myself real quick. I show I don't have any weapons because I was like, I'm a tradesman. I don't want to like have a screwdriver that looks like a knife or something in my pocket. And I come upstairs. I put my hands around the corner first. I go, hey, how's it going? I talked to the cops. They were really nice. They were great. They wanted me to show them around that I was supposed to be there. I had to show them like my text from my boss and I don't know where I was working. I was like, this is the ceiling I cut the hole out of. There's a hose bib I was replacing, and this is the shower.
Oh, geez.
So I punched my mic arm. I just showed him all this stuff. Like, these are my tools. And like, all right, have a good one. But it was like an hour. So I was like, man, you have whatever company that is. Dude, I got your guns. I got your cash. I got your jewelry. I even got your flat screen. By the time the cops
it does not take that long to just start emptying a place. I mean, I've never done it, but I can assume it doesn't take long.
There's no way that someone is still, like, they ever find someone that's not supposed to be there if they're there an hour later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, you're right. I'm in your house for 45 seconds, going up to wherever I think the valuable stuff is in one trip, and I'm out of there. Mm-hmm. But I have not broken anybody's house, but that's what I would do.
we're arming the criminals with information.
Yeah, but that was
we're going to be accomplices.
You have like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You can take a nap.
Say you're a plumber, act very confused.
Yeah, take a nap.
Well, and if I didn't smash the window on my way in.
Take a shower.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, and then I sent that video to my boss, and he called me right away. I sent him the video of like me showing my body real quick and being like, "Hey, how's it going?" And they're like, "Hello, it's Officer So and So with Thornton Police Department, and this is my partner." And I was like, "Hey." It's like no sudden moves. They didn't even have their guns out. They were really nice.
There's no way there's someone still going to answer the door at this place.
Yeah, right. And that's what I was thinking. Like, I don't know.
They were shocked that someone answered the door.
They weren't.
Yeah, especially when I came around the corner with pee in my pants. You know what I mean?
For one of the it's never cops, but it's the homeowners. Because for the one contractor I clean for, he apparently never tells the homeowners that I'm there, but they're always very shocked, and they're like, "Who are you and what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm cleaning." And they're like, "Do you work for?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, who would randomly come clean your dump? Okay.
Yeah, well,
I'm here to rob your empty house in the middle of nowhere with cleaning supplies. I'm gonna rob everything that's in here.
Like, I'm sorry he didn't tell you.
At 8 p.m. on a Friday night, I just go around finding places to clean.
I'm that bored. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, "Oh, he didn't tell me you were going to be here." And I'm like, he never does. But, like, I don't
They're empty, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they empty houses?
Yeah.
But no one's moved in.
I mean, there's some, like, tools from them finishing up. But
none of the homeowner stuff.
No, none of the homeowner stuff. But I'm just like, how are you so shocked that I'm here and cleaning? Like, do I really look like a criminal? Do you think this is where I would choose to be if I were a criminal? especially for free, getting paid for, or not getting paid, just there for free to clean their house like a good deed, like a little helper fairy of sorts. Like, what? Anyway.
In Denver there, are you like a patient driver, or do you run into some issues with traffic?
I'm patient. I did one morning on my way to work. I saw the accident. The accident happened right in front of me. Somebody was just changing lanes and they like pit maneuvered another car.
Oh.
We were going pretty slow, like maybe 30 miles an hour or so, and then that guy went and hit somebody else in the side. Oh. And I did just hit the shoulder and I went around him because you could see nobody was really hurt. Nobody flipped over and caught fire. I was like, either stop here and it's an hour before I get anywhere, or I went over into the shoulder through the grass and around him, and it was smooth sailing for the rest of the way. In my rear view, I was like, yeah, those buggers.
Everyone stopped.
Everybody else was, no, trust me, they saw me go around and a couple other people were following me.
They were like, that guy has it figured out.
That was also before they started it. Now that if you cross into the toll lane, it used to be you could just do that. I mean, you weren't supposed to, but there was no punishment. But now it's a $200 fine. So
how do they know, though?
They have, if they don't catch a photo of you entering it, but they catch a photo of you exiting it, you get the toll.
Well, but like fine. If you do it real quick, like they're not going to know then.
If you enter and
if you do it in between them, you're fine. Yeah. I don't think they have cameras set up there.
Unless you're like, well, because even a cop wouldn't know if you are. I
don't know what you have to do to get pulled over here. If
do you not get pulled over?
It's like the Autobahn. You go as fast as you want to go, and if it's 100, the cops are right there being, thank God we can go 100 miles an hour right now.
It's probably such a pain and dangerous to pull someone over on a busy freeway,
probably,
or just in.
So they would have to be doing something real reckless or something.
Yeah, not much speeding traffic stops probably going on.
Well, actually, and if you can speed. Yeah, most of the time, if you can speed, there's 100 of you, and if you can't speed, it's because you're backed up. You're in the parking lot with everybody else. But I was so anyhow, I don't do anything crazy, especially since it's the company rig. I'm driving 90% of the time. Really don't want to get in trouble in the company van. I did get a red light ticket. That was it so far. Fingers crossed. And I was.
You do something stupid. Is the phone number on the van?
Thank God, no.
Oh, okay.
And that's why he said that. He goes, I don't want to be cutting people off, and they have the number that gets a hold of me on the side of the rig.
Yeah, I think that happened before. Someone where I used to work in like the box van or whatever that has they got called about something with one of their employees one time. I don't even remember what it was, but yeah, that's what happened.
That's why Mom doesn't want their company name and phone number on her rig.
Oh, yeah. I had a cousin who cut somebody off and they were calling the office. I'm following your guy. He cut me off at this intersection. I remember that. Yeah. Patrick was like, I didn't see him. Hey, stuff happens, man. I was coming home. I was working in Boulder on a Saturday one day. And I was coming home. And they had the interstate closed for like 8 exits. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, some idiot had to get in an accident. And that's where somebody from like MS-13 or whatever tried to kill a state patrolman.
Oh.
They drove by him and shot out the window. Were shooting out the window of their car at him. And then they parked like 800. Yeah. They parked like way up the road. And the cop just got out and got his AR. And the guy was walking up the shoulder. And then he just domed the dude. I guess he thought he'd killed the cop. I was like, is it like suicide by cop? Like you'd think? I don't know. There's better ways to do it. But like he shot at him and then like parked like way up the road and was like walking back to go finish the cop off. And the cop's like, this guy is like walking at me with a gun after you shot me. He's like, I just got the rifle out of the back of my car and smoked him. It took me an hour and a half to get home. I was pissed. I was like, for that, somebody better have died. I remember I said that to myself. I go, for this detour, I had to go all the way over to Interstate 25 on South Home. I go, somebody better be dead for this. I was supposed to be a half day. I got to pee. I need to eat lunch. I'm grumpy.
And then you read that later in the news.
I was like, oh, it was a gun battle on Highway 36. Great. I say gun battle. I think there was like 3 shots total or something like that.
Are you going to miss all that craziness when you come back?
Actually, yeah. Actually, there was even crazier stuff that happened in Moscow when I lived there. I mean, there's been some wild stuff that's happened here, but you just don't really hear about it.
Yeah.
The United Airlines gal that got killed by some dude with a knife, like a month. No, that was actually a while ago. That was around Christmas. The guy killed like 3 people.
Nolan made a very dark joke yesterday. We were sitting at Moscow Ale House eating our wings, and an ambulance goes by about 11:30, and he's like, "What'd you say exactly?"
Oh, I was like, someone finally their roommate hasn't woke up, and it's 12 o'clock, so they finally went and checked on him.
Oh my god. Remember when I lived over on Asbury Street? Nolan was like,
"It's getting flagged for sure."
No, it's okay. I lived over on Asbury Street in Moscow. Nolan's like, you live like not far away from where that professor murdered his girlfriend that was like a graduate student. I was
you
like,
really
what?
are just the most
And we looked it up, and she lived like 4 houses down. The guy came over. She said, I'm breaking up with you. He shot her, and he killed himself in the Winco dumpster, and they found him when they were dumping the trash.
Jeez. That's
like
dark.
a week later or something like that.
No, that's made up.
No, I know he killed himself right behind Winco. He shot himself back there where the cows and everything were. I guess we're.
Okay. I
Home
thought
Depot's gonna be.
was that not the one that was a standoff in a Best Western room?
I'm sure we had that too. We got people being killed at Arby's.
I know.
We got.
I know that.
I haven't eaten at Arby's since that lady died in the drive-thru. I'm sorry, I don't know where they're getting their meat, but I can't trust it now. I'm so sorry. We're a small town. We can't release any of this. We know people.
The one that you're talking about though, that was like behind where you live there. I had some friends that lived in an apartment there, and they were just chilling in their apartment, and all of a sudden, he was like, it's like pow 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 pow, and he sat there and he's like, wait a minute, he's like, we're in the middle of town.
Yeah. Remember you told me that? Like, yeah, you used to live out in the country. They're like, gunshots. Like, holy crap.
Wait a minute. We're right in the middle of Moscow.
That's not normal.
Oh, jeez.
But circling back around, no, I'm a safe driver. I did give a guy the finger the other day. He was jaywalking. I almost hit him. He had a 6-pack in his hand. I had to give him the finger. That's the most violent I've been since I've been here.
Except we've talked to you on the phone when you're driving. We know the truth.
Listen, I'll say stuff in the safety of my vehicle. I will bring up several factors about your vehicle when you cut me off.
When we got my car, I didn't know how to drive a manual. So we joked, since it's classified as like a sports car, our insurance actually went up. But Nolan said that we should like write and be like, actually, she's safer driving this because it's a manual and she doesn't know what she's doing. Like, it's actually safer than the Focus that she was driving. Well, that's not really the case anymore. But then one day I was driving to Pullman, and this guy in a Dodge was kind of being a dick. And anyway, I was kind of tired of him, and there was a cop that I knew was sitting there, so I slowed way down because I was not willing to get a ticket for this punk. And then I called Nolan. I'm like, this stupid car is supposed to be a sports car, and it can even outdo a Dodge. Like, what kind of car is this? And he's like, there's not many cars on the road that your car won't outdo. You just have to drive it right. And I don't think he knew what he was telling me in that moment.
You're like, wait a second.
I was like, oh, okay.
Wait. So you tell me when I learn how to ride this thing a little better.
Since then, I have lost no races with any car. Though the ones that could outdo me don't race me. It's only like...
It's because they chickened out before the race line
No,
was done.
I think it's because they just know. And or it's usually like some punk in a pickup or something, and I'm like, try me, bro.
There's no vehicle faster than a Ford F-150 when you're 16. I have a friend who he used to work over in Pullman, and he lived in Troy. And he worked with some other people, and they would have a competition on who could get to work faster in Pullman.
Mm-hmm.
And that he got a lot of speeding tickets before he was 18, and his insurance was crazy. And the last times the cop pulled him over and was like, "We know about the racing ring underground you guys are a part of. Like, we're going to keep pulling you over." And it was like he should have got like a reckless endangerment, but he's like, "You're 17." Instead, like, I don't know, his ticket was like $600, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a good lesson, and my buddy learned that lesson for me.
Yeah.
That's the way.
I got a ticket for talking on the phone. Dad called me on my way to work, and I got pulled over, and I got a ticket, but it didn't go on my license.
I got a ticket for texting and driving, and I wasn't texting.
She was playing pool. So it was in the text app.
I hear you. One thing I've learned, and Mom learned this, is they can't prove you were talking on the phone unless they get you to say it. Mm-hmm. And that was, Mom took hers to court, and she's like, the guy said I was texting. I wasn't texting. But when they pulled the body camera footage, she said I was looking at an address, which incriminated herself that, okay, you weren't texting, but you were distracted driving.
You were on the phone.
If she would have said nothing, and she could have caught it in court. And pro tip for everybody out there, their body camera or their dash cameras can't catch you actually looking at your phone. So just keep your mouth shut, and you can get your way out of all those distracted driving tickets. Unless they,
I guess I get kind of
annoyed
about them, but I also don't have the time to go to court. So I guess I would just rather pay it and just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
But speaking of being pulled over, in the Focus, okay, the little white car, not even the Subaru.
Mm-hmm.
Three times? Yeah. Oh, one was the Subaru, and it was a real reason. So twice in the Focus, I got pulled over going to Lewiston for the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. The first time, there was a cop. What was he parked? I think he was parked waiting on the 4-lane. He was waiting for a speeder. And I wasn't speeding, but I was coming up to a truck. I turned on my blinker, switch lanes, past the truck. He gets behind me, and I'm thinking, what could he have pulled me over for? Because I saw him, so I was obeying all the laws.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled me over, and he's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I'm like, nah, I don't. He's like, it's because you didn't use your blinker long enough. And I was like, I didn't use my blinker long enough? What are you talking about? He's like, you have to leave it on for 5 seconds before you leave the lane, and then you have to have it on 5 seconds before you enter the lane. And I'm thinking, this is the first time I've used my blinker in months, so you should just be glad I used it. But long enough.
I don't just tap it and let it blink once to let you know I'm coming over.
Well, but in the Fords, I think it's most of the newer models, and by newer I mean like 2010 and newer for sure. It has like that halfway mark where it blinks like 3 times and then it shuts off itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like my car doesn't have that, but like his pickup does. And that's like 3 blinks. And that's about what I did. And I was like, what? There was nobody else on the road. It was just me and this truck. And obviously he didn't need to see my blinker because I came up far behind him. I was in the other lane, and then I went way in front of him before I switched over, and it was only him and I on the road. I'm like, long enough. And then I got pulled over. Oh no. Okay, so there was 4 times. I did get pulled over for speeding because right at the top of the grade, it drops back down. And I was just thinking about everything I had to do when I got to work that morning. And so I got pulled over for a real reason. I was speeding. But this toddler that was apparently a state trooper comes up to my window and is like, well, you were speeding. And I was like, yes, I know I was speeding. I was thinking about work, and P.S. the speed limit dropping down is stupid. But in the insurance and registration, and I give it to it because I thought it was a teenage boy trying to figure out, you're not even old enough to drive. I found out later that it was actually a lesbian lady, but whatever. I'm still set that it was a teenage boy.
You should have ran.
It gave it my insurance, and he, whatever it was, hands it back and says, "This is expired." And I'm like looking at this piece of paper and I'm like, it's expired? I just paid for this. And so I'm like looking and it says effective by date. And the effective by date was like this was like June 10th or something. And I just paid for it for like June 1st, started the new quarter or whatever it's paid by. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, so it's like says June 1st is when it's effective by. And so I'm staring at this thinking, I'm having a really off day. If this is saying, if this says expired and I'm reading it as effective, I probably should just turn around and go home. And so I'm sitting and then she's like, do you have any other proof of your insurance, like on your phone or a picture? And I'm like, no, this is what I have.
You're like, I'm going to whip up Webster's dictionary real quick on my phone. I'm going to get the app right now.
And so I'm thinking, just sitting there and I'm just like, I don't even know what to do right now. And then luckily she didn't ticket me, but she's like, you know, if you don't have your insurance or your registration next time, it's like a $700 ticket and all this stuff. And I'm just sitting there like about to burst into tears because I'm just like, I'm so confused. And then yeah, I showed Nolan. He's like, no, that's when it starts. It's not expired. I had to get Nolan. I'm like, I don't know. But I was like, what the heck? So that time I did get pulled over for a correct reason, but then it went south with the dates. But then in a long line of traffic, the same guy that pulled me over for not using my blinker long enough, I think he had me in his sights, okay? And I don't know why. I think he thought
you were cute. He was like, it's that little gal in the Focus again.
We were in a long line of traffic, and
my victim.
We were going like this. We were going 4 or 5 over, so I didn't need to pass anybody. So I'm in the back, and I'm just like following, and I get pulled over, and he's like, "You're following too closely." I'm like, there were like 15 cars in a line. Is it just because I was the last one? Like, what's that gonna do? I'm still gonna follow. Luckily, the guy that kept pulling me over and just making me annoyed never gave me a ticket. The he-she thing didn't give me a ticket, which was nice. I did get in trouble by the guy that had pulled me over for the other 2 things. And then he did yell at me, which was rude. But he followed me into Moscow, and I think it was a couple days past I needed to update my registration. So again, it was something that was not up to date. But then it was like right after we got married, and he's like, why is your address on here different than here? And I was just like, because I have to switch everything over, and I'm just waiting till my birthday, which yes, is in 5 months, but I'm going to wait those 5 months because I'm not going to spend my whole day switching everything over just to have it all switched back on my birthday, because it was the birthday I was turning 21, so it was a new driver's license, new this, new everything. And so I'm like, I'm not doing it. And he was like, you need to do that. As soon as you move, you have to change your address. But I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. But now I know at least 3 people that have moved from out of state, and they have lived here for so long, and they still have the state that they moved from's plates on their car. And I find that very annoying. I know that's not the same as having your address on your registration, but I find it annoying. I'm like, hey, if you live here and your plate says Montana, then I think that your address should say Montana. I'm just saying.
Well, that's where you have to hit him with this, and this is for the listeners. This is a legendary maneuver. The cops won't tell you this. When they start,
how do you know this?
When they start lecturing you, you have to say, listen, if I wanted a lecture, I'd go back to school. How about you go back to your little pork rind and fetch me my ticket and stop wasting my time? You guys got to tell them that. Go back to your pork rind, fetch my ticket, and crawl back here and hand it to me. You got to say that to them. That gets you out of every ticket.
I don't.
They just go back and get in their car and drive off.
I don't.
And then when they go back to their car, yeah, speed away. Get out of there. You got a head start now.
I don't foresee myself ever doing that.
Well,
I just get very flustered and feel sad.
My ticket.
Everyone should be the judge of whether or not this is considered road rage or what. Let us know on social media.
Well, that wasn't necessarily road rage. It was just driving incidents.
Well, I know.
It was me calling a cop a pig.
Or
it was Rich Skiles. It was Rich Skiles. He showed up at the shop and I said, I thought I smelled bacon.
We would like
oh
to...
my gosh.
And he told me...
I'm going to say it.
Rich Skiles, I have dirt on you. I was like 14, and he said, how about I come over there and tase your ass and watch you piss your pants? It was funny. It was before he was the sheriff. It was really good.
What were you doing to him?
Well, I thought Rich was there talking with Dad, and I was like, I thought I smelled bacon. And he goes, how about I come over there and tase you and watch you piss your pants? It was so funny.
Okay,
I don't know. So, you probably should cut that out. I really like Rich, and some people probably use that when he's
well, I'm about to... No, I won't say anything. Okay, so we've lived here now for 2 years. 2 years? Yeah. We moved in June 2 years ago. Okay, but we've owned the property since February of 2 years ago, and we have thought that there are drug deals going on up the road from us because there are no houses, there's no nothing, but there are some suspicious cars that go up there.
Remember, you've told me that, yeah.
Okay. Now we know kind of the schedule. Last Sunday, this little red Tacoma drives up the road. It's the guy that lives in the cabin kind of up there.
No one lives there.
Or stays there. It's like a hunting cabin. Owns it. Okay, so we see this red pickup a lot. And so it's not really one of the suspicious vehicles other than that it's annoying that it has to come up here. Even though they own land up there. I'm just annoyed. Anyway, they came up on Sunday. On Monday, Nolan texts me when I'm leaving Moscow at like 5 o'clock, 5:30. He says, see if you see a Chrysler 300 going to Moscow. And I was like, okay, why? He said this, and he's like, do you know what that looks like? Like, do you know what to look for? And I'm like, is it a SUV? And he's like, no. And so he sent me a picture, and I'm like, okay, that's a car I'm not going to miss. A black one. And he said it went like 25 or 30 miles an hour past our house.
Oh, wow, on that little road? In a Chrysler 300, too? Yeah. That's a hell ride, man.
And then was like up there for just
5 to 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes, and then went flying back by. Okay? There is no reason a Chrysler 300 would ever be on our road. You come up this road to go hunting, to go hiking, I guess maybe to jack off. I don't know, but...
Cut. Let's put a cut and put a mark right there. Go ahead, cut the jack off part off. Take it from the top.
You don't come up here in that little car, especially for that amount of time. They were only up there for the 5 minutes.
He was jacking off, dude. You gotta leave it in now. 5 minutes up there? Come on.
Well, no, he wasn't even up there 5 minutes. It was like 5 minutes.
There's not even any
total.
cell service. What's he using? It doesn't matter. Keep going.
Pictures in his spank thing.
Okay, this has got totally...
He asked. I was just answering.
This is...
You guys, be quiet. I'm telling my
He's
story.
old school. He uses his imagination.
You guys, I'm trying to tell my story.
He's like, I was up here with Becky 25 years ago.
You're making it worse than anything I said.
Oh, no.
The trees were half as tall back then.
Okay, pipe down. Anyway, so now we know when that red pickup goes up there, we are going up there because we went up there and we looked at the tracks. Okay, we were trying to be investigators. Mm-hmm. And you could see the car kind of went toward the cabin, but there's no way they have the drugs by the cabin because it's like a quarter mile and then it's gated and it's a narrow little road. So if anyone drives up there, they're going to have to back the whole way back because I doubt that they're giving keys to their cabin area to their customers, but maybe they are. So I'm like, okay, they must have it at this T situation. And so we saw the marks went kind of, and then you could see they backed up, and apparently they couldn't back up their tiny car because it looked like a snake going down the road. Mm-hmm. They did finally back into one of the other little roads, and then you could see when they took off, they were throwing dirt. You couldn't even see the treads. It just looked, It was shredded, the road. And so I'm like, okay, that confirmed my thoughts that the drugs are in this area, and I'm going to be looking for them. And I know whose family the red pickup belongs to, and that is going to be the funniest phone call for me to make. Hello. You know who you are.
Good thing we're not a big podcast. Otherwise, we'd be like, man, we can't be dealing drugs up at the cabin anymore.
I hope that they hear
Mom,
it.
I was listening to this podcast and they know about the red pickup.
I hope they hear it, because I'm tired of them driving up there.
What about the black Cadillac Escalade?
Well, it's still up there
at
least. At least it's been up there. Like a little bit ago when you were telling us your story, a Cadillac Escalade goes up the road. Like,
These
why?
are all drug dealers' cars. I would expect an Escalade
sure.
and a Chrysler 300 that have Coke on them. You know,
the first year that we lived here, during that whole hunting season time, there was always a light sky blue Hummer H2 that hung out up here.
And by the whole time, he means it would come in at 10:30 at night and then leave at 5:30 in the morning. It would just come up here and hang out at night. It's weird. And everything is gated, which, yeah, if you have like a sports, don't be picking your nose on the podcast.
He's itching. I was just itching my nose while he was itching his. Got a big nose. I got a lot of boogers in there.
If you have like a sports, side by side, or like a sporty 4-wheeler or a dirt bike, like you can get pretty much anywhere around the gates, because Stimson, if you ever listen to our podcast, please just hire me and I'll keep people off your land around here, okay? Me, the goats, and a shotgun, we'll be set. But anyway,
arm the goats.
There's no way that anybody else is like going anywhere, especially hiking, okay? I've seen the American population, okay? You can go a quarter of a mile before it's straight up a hill, okay? And no Americans are doing that. Okay, especially in this area. I've seen you. I know what you like to eat. It's fried foods from Cody Joe's. And if that's what you're eating, you're not walking your butt up this kind of a embankment. Nolan has me do it. I thought the weighted vest was such a great idea to lose weight until I realized I can't walk 5 miles on a flat road. Okay, if I'm going to walk 5 miles, it's up a mountain. It's up a mountain.
You guys, and this is a slight detour. I'm sorry, I don't want to get away from the drug story. You should also get like one of your trail cameras up there. Don't put it on private property because that's illegal. But otherwise, it's a one-party consent state in Idaho. As long as one party consents to being filmed, you can film anyone, anytime on public property.
That's what we're going to do. But we got to figure out where to hide it, you know.
Yeah, so they don't just rip it off and...
Yeah.
Or shoot it.
But I saw you guys with your weighted vest on your Instagram and exposing how I haven't done my cleaning chores today. I loaded up my backpack with a bunch of weight. I'm getting ready for a trip to Alaska.
You gonna go walk around Denver?
No, I did. I only did a little bit today. I took my wife with me, but I was like 60 pounds on the way back.
Don't you have like a armor vest?
Yeah, that would make me look insane. I would get killed by the police walking around with that. I would get shot. Hey, luckily, I'd have the vest on, so I'd be okay.
Back to the drug thing real fast.
No.
When we were gone in last October or whenever it was, November, I don't know, I saw on our camera at some rig, I couldn't tell what it was because it came in at 11 o'clock, but it had like clearance lights on it and stuff. And then at like 6 in the morning, pickup and like a F-150 came in, and then those two left together like 30 or 45 minutes later, and it was like a black Dodge Sprinter van.
Like, how sketchy is that?
It came in and
a Sprinter van up there? That's crazy.
And this is like not. This is not like a normal spot for people to come. It's just super suspicious, and I think we've thrown a wrench in the gears by being here. But I'm ready to just totally just destroy it all.
Don't worry. When I come back, I'll get my camera. I'll get up there and I'll get in a nice hide, and we'll just video everything.
Well, I was going to say, I know it's after Alaska, but when you come back, you're going to have to go on our hikes with us with your weighted backpack, or if you get a weighted vest like ours.
He can wear his.
Oh yeah, you could wear your.
I'll wear the ballistic vest and everything then, because then it'll be Idaho. I did that a couple of times.
That's
It'd be
basically
normal.
what this weighted vest looks like.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was, because your post was about preparing for the end times, and I was like, you're posting about that with the vest with mag pouches. I was like, what am I supposed to think about this? Like, oh, that's a weight vest. I'm like, never mind.
Yeah,
Never
right
mind.
now we're sharing one because Nolan wasn't interested, but then now he's been taking it. But anyway, we're trying to lose weight to be healthier, because ever since we moved out here, we've kind of let ourselves go. So we've got like 30 pounds to lose each. We're about to be ripped, jacked.
Good.
Okay.
I'm still lean and mean, but I don't think I could go with half a caribou. I think I would die before I got it back to camp. So I'm trying to get a little bit more prepared for that.
Well, luckily you have Nolan. Just be like on the walkie-talkie, Nolan, I need you. Dad will go, what?
What? How about a beer? How about you? Sorry, how about Austin 316? That's wrestling. You guys don't know about that. It's okay. But
like Stone Cold Austin?
Stone Cold Steve Austin would be like, what was his thing? And that's our dad. What? It doesn't matter what you say.
That's not Steve Austin.
That's John Cena.
John Cena.
I know.
That's John Cena. Don't worry about that. Okay, but
I was just trying to do a wrestling thing.
I got to call Dad today, and I'm going to be honest with him because, Dad, I know you listen. I'm afraid you're going to die, and we're going to have to gut you up there in the woods. I'm afraid you're going to roll over. He's like, I can't walk to work. How the hell are you supposed to go to Alaska, Playboy?
You know,
it's a good question.
Sorry.
We are at an.
We can air some dirty laundry. It's okay.
No, I was thinking about wrestling, and you know what crosses my mind almost once a week? The show American Gladiator. You know,
yeah,
with dreams about this. I'm starting to wonder who she's dreaming about.
You know, with like Helga and Phoenix and like those.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember the guys' names, but like I wanted to be Helga. Okay, she was a beefy, strong woman, and I was like,
I wanted Helga too.
Well, we wanted to be her in different ways. You wanted?
No, I didn't say I wanted to be her. I said something else. But anyway, keep going. Sorry, it's supposed to be a family-friendly show. I've been derailing us all night. I'm sorry.
No, I really liked that show. And no, I don't think you knew what I was talking about.
I've seen it a little bit.
Okay. You thought it was like the people, like the American Ninja, like the competing. Like these people did compete, but with the gladiators, who were so cool. And I wanted to be them so bad. I wanted to be so strong and wear their outfits. I just loved them.
The leotards were nice. What the heck are you guys looking at? You're freaking me out. I just looked to the left to see what we were looking at.
The cat's, I guess, wanting his food.
We have like an automatic feeder for the cat, and he
gets fed at 7, and it's 6:27.
He was just up at it with his face, like going up into this part
like
where
looking like, will it come out here soon?
He's pissed.
He starts sitting on the end of the couch at like 5:30, staring at it.
Yeah.
He knows what time it feeds him, but he also thinks maybe it'll come earlier every day.
You think it has mystic presence?
Well, all right, fellas. Let's call it a...
Hopefully that wasn't too much rambling. We kind of talked about a lot of stuff. Drugs.
I'm sorry. I don't have any road rage stories, really.
I don't either. It wasn't really road rage, but it was rage.
Yeah.
No, you had road rage stories.
That was on the road.
Okay. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with any of the people I love. We'll be good. I'll go to war for anyone that I care about. I'm not a lady that's going to lie down and... Okay, never mind.
Okay. Let's stop it right here. Goodbye.
Bye.